Hi everybody, it's Alison here at Old Leckie. We are just going to wait until 1 o'clock to begin our Lambathon tour. I've got a little lamb with me here. You've caught me just in the middle of our lunchtime feeds. So before we kick off at 1 o'clock on our tour properly, I'm just going to feed little Noah. Let's have a look. Noah is our smallest little pet lamb that we're having to feed. Look how sweet he is. He's really totty. So Noah was born with his mother a few days ago. His sibling is massive. It's kind of normal size for a lamb, if on the big side. And little Noah here is currently the smallest lamb that we have at Old Leckie. So I'm just top up feeding Noah at the moment to make sure that he's getting milk because his mum's teats are a bit high up for him to reach. So for those of you just joining, I'm Alison at Old Leckie. We are just going to hold on until 1 o'clock and I'm going to feed wee Noah here while we're waiting for people to join. There we go. Oh. We feed our lambs that are needing top-ups kind of 4 times a day. So we're out early in the morning, first thing. They then get a feed sometimes around lunchtime, and then a kind of tea time feed, and then they get another top-up before they go to bed at night. So we'll just do this while we're waiting for 1 o'clock. There we go. Give you a bit of a breather. And then once we hit 1 o'clock and everybody's on, we'll start off on our Lambathon tour. Let's see. How's that going down, little one? I started Noah off on a tiny little bottle with a tiny little teat just because he was so wee. But he's now got a bit thirstier, so he's able to take the bottle with the bigger teat. So we'll just give him his lunch before we head off on our Lambathon. Let me know where you're all joining us from today. It's always good to know if we've got some local folk, if we've got folk from further afield. Drop us a note in the comment box and let us know if it's sunny or raining, if you're at 1 o'clock UK time or if you're maybe still in the dark. I know there's been a lot of folk from overseas been watching the earlier broadcasts earlier in the week. So say hello. It's always interesting to know where everyone's come from. Come on then, we know. There we go. We've got Kristen here with us today. She is volunteering with us for a couple of months, all the way from New Brunswick, out in Canada. And so she's going to be helping today just with the timekeeping and just letting us know any questions that come up once we're off on our way round. How are we doing for time?
We're just about to start. 1 minute.
Brilliant. Just let us know when we get to 1 and then we'll go off. Oh. So for those of you just logging on for the Go Rural Lambathon today, we're just waiting another minute or so till we get to 1 o'clock. Who have we got there? It's from Massachusetts. I'm wishing we were there. Oh, it's Laurie. Hello, Laurie. How are you doing? Lovely to see your name pop up. Yep. All go here at the farm. Laurie stayed with us a while ago. Hello from Ontario. Fabulous. Out to North America. There we go.
My parents are on.
Oh, that's very good. Hello, Kristen's mum and dad. Thank you for sending us your lovely daughter. She's doing a great job keeping us all sane and helping us look after all the other parts of the farm while we're busy with lambing. Right, okay, so I think what we'll do is we're at about 1 o'clock. So we will kick off on our 30-minute tour. So I'm Alison. and this is Old Leckie Farm. And for those of you that logged on a couple of minutes before 1, this is little Noah. Noah's our smallest lamb on the farm that we're looking after at the moment. And a bit of a David and Goliath moment. His sibling came out massive, and poor Noah's so small that he can't actually reach up to his mother's teats. So we've just given him his bottle feed for lunchtime. I'm going to pass him over to Kristen, and she can go and pop him back down in his pen. There we go. See if I can change the camera around. There she is. So his mum's over in that pen over there. Bye, Noah. And we'll set off out for our Lambathon. Brilliant. So for the next 30 minutes, what I thought we'd do is we'll just take you on a little bit of a journey around our farm. Introduce you to Old Leckie. We're in central Scotland. So for those of you that haven't been here, we're 7 miles west of Stirling. So we're bang in the middle. And we're a very kind of historic farm, really. Our family's been here since 1906 farming, but you can just see over my shoulder there, Old Leckie Tower House. It was built all the way back in 1535. And we're a very traditional mixed farm. We have about 450 sheep, some of which we'll see today for our lambing. We also have some beef suckler cattle. We have Highland cows and calves. We have some pigs, we have free-range chickens, we grow a little bit of salad and potatoes, so we do absolutely all sorts on the farm here. We've been involved with Go Rural really since it started. Some of you may well have been watching the Lambathons earlier in the week, so we've had broadcasts from farms over kind of further west of here at Loch Lomond, at the Duncans. We've had Instagram takeovers by our pals along at Arnprior. The other day, if you watched, we were up in just north of Perth at Inchich. Neil did a great job up there taking you around his lambing shed. We actually have some of his sheep here. So if he's watching, Neil, you can spot some of your hogs today. I'll flick round just so you can get a little bit of a feel for some of the sort of landscape around here. Unfortunately, it's raining today, but in all the cloud there, we've actually got the Gargunnock Hills that you can't see today because of the rain. But we have about 300 acres of pretty good kind of grassland that extends between the villages of Gargunnock, which is to my east, and Kippen, which is along this way to the west. And the road that we're on at the moment here is actually the old military road that used to take you all the way from Stirling out to Dumbarton. So I guess one of the reasons why Scotland does such a good job with its animals in terms of both its red meat production and our really high standards of welfare for the animals that we have is that it does rain, and that means we have amazing grass. Unfortunately, if we'd been doing this a couple of days ago, we would have beautiful blue skies and you would have really enjoyed the views. But we do like the grass and we like the rain because it makes the grass grow. And that's really important for us at this time of year, especially when the sheep are having their babies. Having access to really good grass helps them to produce really good quality sort of nutritious milk that they can feed their babies. So in this field that we're looking at here, we've got our first time mums. They won't start lambing for another week or so yet. We call them hogs here in Scotland. And this field here, this is actually called Gallow Hill, which is a bit spooky if you think about what gallows actually are. But behind that tractor there, we have a lot of our sheep that are having twins. So on our farm, we're kind of 300 acres, I guess. And we do a little bit of both indoor and outdoor lambing. And so I think what I'm going to do today, because it's not very nice outside, we're going to probably head off into the I'll flip it back round. We're going to head off into the lambing shed just now, and then we can get a closer look at what we're doing. Our twins we lamb outside. Ideally we're letting everything kind of get on and do its own thing, intervening just if we have to. On the inside of our sheds, we take in all of our singles and our triplets. And so we run a system where we are trying to make sure that most of the animals, most of the lambs have a mother. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more when we go in. Some of you will have been watching Lambathon since we started doing them a couple of years ago. Some of you, this might be your first, so we'll try and do a bit of everything. I'm going to test your knowledge later on. I've got a few things that if you have been watching closely over the years or just this week, you should be able to answer, but we'll do a little bit of a quiz about some of the things that are commonly found on our farm at lambing time. And if we have enough time at the end, we might stick our head round the corner because we had twin calves born the other day. So as well as having our lambs at the moment, our cows are also giving birth in the sheds too, and we had a set of twins. So we'll see if we can meet them towards the end. But we'll head on in and see. Just as I was leaving, there was a triplet that was giving birth. I suspect its lambs are out by now, but we'll go and have a look and see what we can see. So we're heading along the military road. Someone was asking me the other day about do we have any trouble sometimes because we are on this sort of right of access. You know, people can walk between the villages here, and if we ever have any bother there, I have to say everybody that lives in our local villages is usually brilliant about keeping their dogs on leads at this time of year and coming through the farm. It can be really problematic, and if you're based in Scotland, there's been some pretty rough news today about a dog attack not too far from here. So we do try and encourage people always to keep their dogs really close in at this time of year, just so we don't put any of our pregnant mums under any stress. That is one of our other outdoor lambing fields here, where we have all of our pedigree sheep that are coming in close to the sheds, and they're also having twins. But we'll go and have a look in at the sheds and see what's happening next. I've managed to zoom in, so I'll see if I can zoom back out again, and then we'll have a little chat about what we're doing. There we are. So Kristen's very helpfully undoing the gate for us. Thank you very much. Do let us know if you've got any questions. Really happy to answer any questions you might have. So we'll just hang on here at the corner and have a look and see what we can see. So inside our shed we have 3 lambing pens. In this batch in front of us at the moment, these are all expecting single lambs. So we scan everything back in January, and then we split them into kind of management groups so that we can keep an eye on them and what they're eating between January and lambing time now. And over in the pen beyond the hay rack there, we have triplets, and we have another pen of single lambs round the way. And what we're trying to do is keep an eye on these mothers, and when we see that they're going to have a lamb, we will try and see if we can give them another lamb from one of the triplets and adopt everything on, so that everything ends up with 2 lambs. So we can go and have a look at the pens in a wee bit of time. But these are Texel sort of cleans predominantly. We've got a small batch of clean pedigree sheep, and we're crossing them with a mixture of different tups. We'll keep our own female replacements for our flock from our sort of pedigree breeding ones, and then we'll have more commercial lambs that will be born to more of the cross sheep that will then go off to market. So here we are. We're quite full in the shed because it's raining today. Yesterday, before it got wet, we brought in the last of our sheep that are going to come into the shed. So we're quite full at the moment, which gives us lots to look at here. You can see they've all got different colours on them. So the orange mark, as I was saying before, on the back of their shoulders, that tells us really quickly and easily that they're expecting a single lamb. But you can see there's lots of other colours on them. So we've got some blues, we've got some greens, we've got some purples and reds. And that's Fergus's method of keeping track of what male sheep they've been bred with. So we've got some different tups that he wants to trace and track their lambs when they come out. So it looks maybe a bit colourful to the untrained eye, but it does make sense to him, which is just as well. So they're in here, and the singles will get a little bit of supplement feed just once a day. The triplets that are maybe working a little bit harder, carrying 3 lambs, they're going to get a little bit of supplement feed twice a day, just to give them some extra energy. Right, we'll take a wee walk round our pens and we'll have a bit of a closer look at what we've got. So when a sheep goes into labour, they'll have their lamb born out in the main big pen here, and then once we're happy that everything's out, we'll move the sheep with their lamb into the pens, the smaller pens, where they get a chance to make that bond and connection, and it lets us just keep a wee eye on them to make sure that the lambs are sucking and thriving in terms of their early sort of stages of development. One of the other things that we'll do before we pen them quite often is we'll just check that they've got good milk. So the sheep have got, ideally, 2 teats, both of which I was just going to see if I could get down to have a look. They should have 2 teats with their kind of bags under them, both of which should be producing milk. But sometimes, perhaps if they've had some mastitis or had an infection, they might only have milk on one side, and we might need to top the lambs up a little bit more. Let's come along and we'll have a look. So these have all been born in the last day or so. So we'll have a wee look down. You can see some of them are numbered here. Let's see, what number are you? These look like 61s. So for us, we use different colour sprays onto the lambs. The orange colour tells us that this doesn't have any particular kind of breeding genetics from our more pedigree tups. It's one of our commercials. Oh, I've just managed to turn you around to see me. I'll turn you back, much more interesting. And the fact that it's marked up now tells us that it's been assessed as being ready to go out onto the grass and back out to the field. So we don't really want to keep anything in the shed any longer than we have to. Oh, there's number 60. It looks to me like the children have maybe sprayed these numbers on this morning. So we've got very much a family team here. There's myself and my husband Fergus. We've got 3 kids, all of whom are helping. Handily, they're all off for the school holidays. And they're getting really good at helping look after the lambs and get things moved out and about into the fields. So these 2 will go out after lunch, I would expect. Once we're finished, we'll move them out. And if we move along, we'll go and see if we can find a pen of triplets to have a look at. So these guys in the middle here, these are our triplet mums, and they've got orange marks on their bottoms. Let's see, there's a purple one. So you see the purple numbers matching the purple spot on her back, as is here. So there's some more. So these pens will all be empty this afternoon. Oh, and this is the one, I think, who has just lambed here. So let's see if we can count. There we go. Let us know if you've any questions at all. You can see the difference in colour of these ones that have just been born to the 3 next door in this pen. So there's a couple of things going on here. Once they do arrive, the mother's really good at licking them to lick them dry. These ones are all still looking a bit wet and a bit slimy, but these ones look very yellowy browny because of the meconium. So sometimes, especially if they're having a bit of a stressful birth, when they come out, it's the same with human babies, they can be covered sort of in some of the fluids from within. So it's just as well, I think, these ones arrived when they did, by the looks of it. But you can see that this one here, I think the eldest one here, how long ago was that born, Kristen?
About 14 minutes.
About 14 minutes ago, this one was out, and you can see already there's 2 of them up on their feet there, having a good suck at mum. She's doing a good job of having a look up behind. Well done, lady. And so we'll keep them in the pen here until hopefully we can adopt one of them on to one of the mothers that's just expecting a single lamb. But they're amazing, really. My husband always says how useless humans are as babies because it takes us a year just to stand up. And here we are, 14 minutes after it's been born. Lambs are already up. And they're born with the most amazing instinct to sort of suckle. So they're trying to find her teats there and get on it. And that's a brilliant sign because just like humans, the first milk that the mother produces is called colostrum. And it's got all the sort of rich antibodies that we want those lambs to get into their systems, and that helps keep them healthy as they develop and as they grow. So she's done a good job. As you can see, we've got our other triplets in here waiting to go. How are we doing for time, Kristen?
We're halfway through.
We're halfway through. Right, I'm going to give you all a little quiz then. I'm not getting too many questions, so I'm going to see whether any of you know your way around some lambing equipment. So I'll start with an easy one here for you, and you can just amuse yourselves and see if you know what's what, or you can drop me a note and tell me. So here's my first item. Are you ready? Here we go. What do we think this is for? This is an easy one. So these are just some of the things that we're going to see very familiar around the lambing sheds. I wonder what that might be for. Okay, so that's exhibit 1. Let me know if you know what that is. In terms of exhibit number 2, this is essential. What do you think this might be? That's essential. Everybody uses that in one way, shape or form. Exhibit number 3. Oh, Ian's got it. The glove to help lamb the sheep. That's right. So just for hygiene, we'll put that on. Here's exhibit number 3. What might this be? It's an unusual looking thing. Exhibit number 4. Don't know if you can see that. Hold it a bit closer. Don't know, my focus is a bit off on those ones. Any idea what this is? And then here's our last exhibit. There's something here as well. So you'll find these on most lambing sheds too. I'll show you how they work. So a couple of things there. So let me know. Ian's got the glove right.
We've got lots of good answers.
Oh, we've got lots of good answers,
So
have we?
David saying it's for their navels to stop infections. That's it.
Well done, David. So yep, exhibit number 2 is the iodine. Some people use a spray. We use a little Tropicana bottle, so you have to be careful not to drink it for your breakfast. But yeah, we use that on their navels just to disinfect and dry them up.
We've got Tracy saying it's for prolapse.
Ah, well done, Tracy. Yep, exhibit 3 was what we call a spoon. So sometimes the pressure for the mums is quite a lot and they can prolapse, which means that they push sort of a little bit of their inside outside before they lamb. And so we can use this spoon where we kind of push it back in and we tie it off on the outside of the lamb with these strings, and that just helps keep them all in.
David said tube feeding.
Well done, David. Item number 4 is for the tube feeding. So most of the time we want the lambs just to suckle normally from their mums, but if we're concerned at all that she's maybe only got one side or one's a bit weaker and hasn't drunk, we'll milk the sheep off, or we'll make some dry fake colostrum and we'll use a syringe and this tube and we put that into the lamb's tummy. And do we have, okay, so I'm going to give you an extra clue for exhibit 5. Oh, we've got some nice wee triplets here. Oh, they're really cute all together. So exhibit 5, this might give you an extra clue.
Oh, Tracy's got it.
Oh, Tracy's on fire today. What's Tracy saying?
Tail ringer.
A tail ringer, exactly. So when they're born, they have quite long tails, but one of the issues with that is they get bigger and they're outside in the summer, is we get flies coming in and laying eggs in areas that we'd rather they didn't. And so we can use these when they're young and they don't feel anything, and we pop that around their tails, and that just docks their tail for us. It just dries up and falls off the bottom bit, and then they're left with quite short tails that helps keep everything really nice and clean and open as they get a bit bigger. So we've got a question.
Roger is asking, do you ever have to help a lamb out if it's breech?
Yes, we do help a lamb out if it's breech. So what we're doing at the moment all the time is we're checking the sheds here, and we're driving around the fields that are outside. So in terms of if something's going into labour, what you might see is it starting to paw the ground, kind of nesting. You might see a water bag out at the back, and then the next thing that you want to really see coming out is 2 front feet, and that would be the normal way, as if they're diving out of the sheep at the back. If we don't see things progressing in the timescale we would expect, we would always then go and have a look, because Roger, you're quite right, they might be breech. And sometimes you don't see anything. We had one the other day that actually my middle daughter Ellen, I think, spotted, and it had the tail out and nothing else. So that was quite an obvious sign. But sometimes you don't see anything at all, just that they're not progressing. So in those instances, we would go in and have to help that sheep lamb. And what we try and do is probably push the bum, kind of push it back inside the sheep until we could get the back legs, and then pull it out with the back legs first. But ideally we're looking for 2 front feet and a head. There we go. So feel free to ask any more questions as we come round. We'll come back and have a look at some. So there we go. We can see with these ones here, they've got their lambing rings on their tails. So they've just been applied on. We'll keep them in and keep a check on them that they're fine, and then they'll go out this afternoon. So on our farm, like I say, we've got about 450 sheep lambing. We're probably about a third of the way through. And our daily routines, we don't have people in the shed all through the night here. See, Hassan's asking, where is the jacket? I'm not sure. Sometimes we don't tend to put jackets on our lambs. So I have seen sometimes if the weather's really, really wet and horrible and people are lambing while it's cold, sometimes lambs are turned out with wee jackets on. The type of sheep that we have tend to be woolly enough, even as lambs, that they don't require extra kind of cover when they go out. So yeah, I was saying we get up at the moment at about, well, we're up in the shed sort of before 6 in the morning. We're then doing regular checks outside in the fields and in the shed during the day. And then we come out again after dinner at night about 10 o'clock and check that everything's fine, deal with anything that needs dealt with, and then we take a dash for bed and for there. They're very sweet. There's something about the sheep that are just, they're quite noble. Look at her, she looks really proud, doesn't she? She's looking really happy there. And none of their bedding here gets wasted. They're bedding on straw, and every time we move them out from the pens, we have to come in, we muck out the straw, we put it in with our cattle who bed down on it or do their wees and their poos on it, and then we use that straw for fertiliser on our fields. So on our farm here we produce pretty much all of our own feed for our animals and our grass, but we do need to use that straw and farmyard manure as fertilisers. But that's great that we have that, because it's a great resource and it means we don't have to buy in too much artificial fertiliser. Oh, there we go. So I don't think it's a shame we missed these ones being born. If we'd been 10 minutes earlier, we would have caught them. I don't see that anything else is underway at the moment. What we might do is we'll nip back out this way and we'll go and see if we can see our twin calves before we finish up the tour around there. So I don't know if some of you have been watching some of the other Lambathons this week. We're on, I think, on the Go Rural Facebook page and Instagram over, we've got another kind of 10 days I think to go. And what's brilliant about Go Rural is our members are from all over Scotland. So there might be farms you know in there might be farms that you've never heard of. Everyone runs slightly different systems, so what's fascinating is that you get to go and see different parts of the country and understand a bit more about the different systems and setups that everyone uses. And all of our members, we've got well over 200 now farms across the whole of Scotland who are all involved in some way in welcoming people onto their farms, either to go and stay or to use their farm shop or farm cafe, or go and do a tour or visit. And everybody's listed on the website page, which is goruralscotland.com. So whether you live in Scotland or whether you live abroad and just hope to visit Scotland one day, it's a brilliant resource, because listed there is everywhere across Scotland you can get yourself onto a working farm, all of us sort of food producers, and get and understand a bit more about our amazing sort of landscape here and what makes us a really, really good sustainable farming country. Oh, there's Rod Lynn Mackenzie in Moncton, New Brunswick. There we go, I better show you your daughter, Rod. Look, she's smiling despite not having had a day off for a couple of weeks. Because we've got so much else going on the farm, it's really hard, because obviously like lambing takes up a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of thinking time. And so because we still have everything else going on, it's brilliant to have the extra help. So Kristen's been with us for a couple of months now, and she's basically looking after the whole of the farm while we're playing in the lambing shed, aren't you?
It's true.
Yeah, we've also got Addison. We've got a vet student who's actually from Singapore. He's studying in Edinburgh. He's out with us just now. And then we've got the usual team with Struan and various other folks there. I think Effie's on. Hello, Effie. Effie's one of our customers up in Kippen. One of the best bits about our farm, which I love, is we sell a lot of our produce direct. So we do household deliveries to about 250 houses, all within about 15 miles of the farm, which is fantastic. And we've got brilliant customers and a lot of support. Look, there's another one running along the road. Hi, Edie. Oh, she's not paying attention. She's got her hearing, she's got her headphones on. Anyway, here's what I was going to finish on for you. I've just nipped in. So we're calving at the moment too. This is one of our cows called Ava, who was named after one of our au pairs many years ago, who helped when the kids were tiny, and it was difficult to juggle everything on the farm, and she had twins. Not completely unusual with cattle, but whereas with sheep twins are more the norm, with cattle twins are definitely less normal. We do scan the cows, but we hadn't picked up on these ones, so it was only when that wee red one on the right was born and we thought, Fergus and Struan thought, maybe she's a twin, it looks quite little. And then kind of thought, I don't know, and went away and left her. And then looked back on the cow cam and discovered that, yes, she was having another one. So she's being a really good mum. She's got both of them going. They're nicely bedded down on straw. So we've just got a minute left before we wrap up. If anyone has any burning questions, feel free to get them in now and we'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll check back through the comments later on. So if you're watching on catch up, feel free to ask a question and I will try and get it answered as soon as I can. For the rest of the week, tomorrow we're heading over to Fife. That's where I was born. We're going over to Leckie Farm at 1 o'clock on the Facebook page for another Lambathon. And then I think on Friday we're heading north up to Fern Farm up in the Highlands. So yeah, if you get the chance, join in on those ones or watch up on the catch up, and keep an eye on the Facebook pages as well. There's loads of stuff from our lambing there. Oh, look at that one, really cute. And yeah, we will hopefully start getting some sleep here at Old Leckie in another couple of weeks, or a wee bit more sleep. And we should have, hopefully, all of our sheep back out onto lovely grass in the next couple of weeks, where we look forward to seeing all the lambs grow and develop and frolic, hopefully in the sunshine. But it's been lovely of you to join us today. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed the Go Rural Lambathon from Old Leckie. If you're ever in Scotland, come and see us. And yeah, have a really good Easter when it comes at the weekend. Bye.